Hi, my name is Ellen, and back in May, I attended my first ever Renaissance fair. It was called the Utah Ren Fest, and I had so much fun. I really enjoyed seeing the different booths and seeing all the different events, but most of all, I had a lot of fun creating my costume for that Renaissance fair. I didn't do anything that extravagant for my first Renaissance fair costume, but I really love how it turned out. I did go dressed up as a fairy, and for the most part, I either used items that I had already owned or I went out and bought some items for the costume. But my favorite part was the fairy wings, and I did make those all on my own. So, while at this Renaissance fair, I heard about another fair that was happening in Utah later in the summer. So, immediately I got very excited and thought about essentially upgrading my fairy costume for the next fair. So, after my first Renaissance fair, I got started on my next costume. I had about 2 months to make everything, so I immediately started working on the concept and inspiration. I eventually landed on making another fairy costume, but making it more themed. So, not just like a general fairy, but something more specific. And I really liked the idea of doing like insect fairy wings, so I decided to do a beetle themed fairy costume. I found some of these character designs on Pinterest and used them as inspiration so that I could figure out like what elements I wanted for my costume. I knew pretty quickly that I loved the color palette of this idea. So, like the various greens and blues and purples. And when beetles have like that color shifting hard shell, I really loved that. So, looking at some of the designs that I saw, I really liked the cape in this one character design. I actually really loved this character so much, and my original plan was to use a lot of the elements in their costume. But I didn't get to all of that just due to time. So originally, I wanted to make like a cape, a bodysuit, shoe covers, gloves, and two sets of wings. So I wanted one set to be that hard shell that beetles have, and then the second set of wings to be the translucent wings that beetles use to fly. So once I had my concept and plan figured out, I got started working right away. Even though I had like a full 2 months before this next Renaissance fair, I felt like that was not enough time, mostly because I work a full time job and I have other hobbies other than crafting. I have other hobbies other than crafting. So my free time is limited. But I also didn't know how to sew when I first planned out this costume, and I didn't know how to like craft a lot of these items. I was doing a lot of this for like the first time. So I figured that I would start with maybe the most difficult item just to give myself like a lot of time to figure it out. And for me, that was figuring out the hard shell wings of the beetle costume. There wasn't really like a tutorial I could look up for this, but I actually used this TikTok by probably Prisma as inspiration. I figured that I could use a similar process as her, where I could take paper mache and this air foam clay to make a lightweight wing so I could wear it on my back. And I was right. This was a very difficult craft. This did take so long. I had many errors and I had to like redo a lot of things, but I did make them and I love how they turned out. The paper mache and air foam clay did work. I did have to create a wire base first just so that the wings held some sort of shape, and then I paper mache'd that and put foam clay on top. Because of the different layers, they did turn out heavier than I would have liked, but I was able to still work with that and was able to attach them to my cape in a way where it wasn't like pulling down my costume. The other thing I love about this is the colors. I really got just this beautiful spray paint. It's color shifting, so I got one spray paint that is color shift from green to copper, and then another one that is blue to purple. And both of those combined, I feel like really captures the beetle colors that I was trying to go for. As I was working on those wings, I also searched around for a sewing machine. That was so that I could at least start working on some of these fabric elements, like creating a cape and gloves and a bodysuit and all of that. I got really lucky and a relative of mine had a sewing machine that they weren't using and I could borrow it. So as soon as I got the machine, I took a beginner sewing class just so I could get the basics and hopefully like come up with something. With the basics down and like a month left until this fair, I just bought a pattern on Etsy and started working on this cape. I can't tell you how important it was to take that beginner class. The class was hosted at a local fabric shop, so I not only got to learn about my machine, but then I got to shop for this gorgeous green fabric that I used for my cape. And I won't lie, it was not the easiest fabric to work with as a beginner, but I really like the finished product. I think the pattern was really cute, especially with this like layered cape. And again, the color is just kind of exactly what I was looking for this. I could also talk about all the little imperfections in these like final pieces, but I'm not going to. I'm a bit of a perfectionist, but it's not like valuable in this situation because I'm just making this for fun. I'm going to wear it like one day. So I'm not stressing too much about the little details. I'm just trying to enjoy the process of learning something new and creating something pretty cool. So at this point, I realized I had enough leftover material from my hard shell wings to make a headpiece. So I saw this picture on Pinterest and wanted to recreate the pinchers. So I made this. And I felt so confident working with the leftover materials because I had already worked with them on the hard shell wings. And I whipped this up pretty quickly and I'm super proud of them. Okay, so with the cape, the headpiece, and one set of wings done, I started seeing like a real costume come together. But this is also all that I have done, and currently there are 2 weeks left until the fair. So with that in mind, my original plan has changed. I am not gonna make a bodysuit, I'm not gonna make gloves, I'm not gonna make shoe covers. I am actually thinking of re-wearing a lot of my previous fairy costume. So the dress, the shoes, the accessories. That way I don't have to sew any more pieces and I can focus on finishing the second set of wings and like final touches. Currently, I am getting materials together to make that second set of wings. I am going to roughly follow this video from Piece of Cake Cosplay. I still need to do this, and I'm a little worried about running into any issues and making mistakes because I don't have a ton of time. So if I have any setbacks, I'm worried that it means I won't be able to finish like the second set of wings. But truly, if I had to wear everything that I had right now, I think it would look really cool and I would be really happy with the final project. So I'm really excited for this other Renaissance fair. I don't know if I said the name of this one, but it's the Utah Renaissance Fair. Yeah, I'm really excited to go and attend, and I'm excited to just like have this video as like a recording or documentation of the whole process of this.